Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight's story dives into one of the most dangerous flashpoints the world has ever seen: the growing confrontation between Israel and Iran. The question now gripping military experts, world leaders, and millions across the Middle East is simple but terrifying: who will strike first? For months, intelligence agencies have been warning that Israel and Iran are moving toward a direct clash. It's no longer just shadow wars or secret sabotage missions, it's about open confrontation, missile versus missile, sky versus sky, and the fuse could be lit at any moment. Over the last few weeks, Israel has accused Iran of transferring advanced ballistic missiles and drone systems to Hezbollah and militias across Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq. Tel Aviv claims these weapons are capable of striking deep into Israeli territory, even hitting Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. In response, Israel has conducted a series of precision airstrikes across Syria, targeting what it describes as Iranian proxy infrastructure. Iran, however, sees things very differently. Tehran says Israel's strikes are acts of aggression, violations of international law, and direct threats to Iranian national security. In a statement last week, an Iranian Revolutionary Guard commander warned, if Israel continues its reckless behavior, the response will be direct and devastating. The era of impunity is over. That statement sent shockwaves across diplomatic circles. For years, both sides have fought in the shadows: assassinations, cyber attacks, mysterious explosions. But now, both seem ready to face each other head on. Israeli forces have moved Iron Dome and David's Sling missile defense systems to full alert. Radar coverage has expanded, and emergency drills have been carried out in major cities. Satellite imagery even shows increased activity at Israeli Air Force bases, particularly those housing F-35 stealth fighters and Jericho ballistic missiles. Meanwhile, Iran is not standing still. Its Revolutionary Guard Corps has mobilized missile brigades across western Iran. The Khorramshahr, Sejil, and Imad missiles, all capable of hitting Israel from Iranian soil, have reportedly been placed on standby. Iran's state media broadcast footage of these missile convoys moving through the night, accompanied by patriotic music and slogans promising a crushing response. The message was unmistakable: Iran wants the world to know it's ready. The confrontation between Israel and Iran is not confined to their borders. Lebanon, Syria, and even Yemen are becoming potential battlegrounds. Hezbollah, Iran's most powerful ally, has already hinted that if war breaks out, its fighters will unleash thousands of rockets toward northern Israel. In Gaza, militant factions backed by Tehran have vowed to join the fight if Iran is attacked. Israeli intelligence believes that any strike on Iran would trigger a multi-front war, not just from the east, but from Lebanon, Gaza, Syria, and maybe even Iraq. For the Israeli leadership, that's the nightmare scenario: being surrounded by fire. The United States finds itself in an impossible position. Washington has long supported Israel militarily and diplomatically. Yet, a regional war could drag American bases and assets into direct conflict with Iran. American reconnaissance aircraft have been spotted patrolling over the Persian Gulf and the eastern Mediterranean. The U.S. Navy has quietly reinforced its presence with additional destroyers and missile defense systems. While the White House urges de-escalation, it's also preparing for the worst. According to Pentagon sources, contingency plans are in place for the rapid evacuation of U.S. personnel from Iraq and Syria in case the conflict spreads overnight. Both sides have red lines, and both are dangerously close to crossing them. For Israel, Iran's ongoing nuclear enrichment program is an existential threat. If Tehran crosses the 90% uranium enrichment threshold, the level required for a nuclear weapon, Israeli officials have said they will act, with or without U.S. approval. For Iran, any Israeli airstrike on its nuclear facilities, such as Natanz or Fordo, would be seen as a declaration of war. Iranian generals have already vowed to respond within minutes by launching waves of missiles toward Israel. This mutual brinkmanship is like a loaded gun lying on the table, and both sides are reaching for it. Before any missiles fly, there's another front already burning the cyber battlefield. Israeli intelligence units and Iranian hackers have been locked in digital combat for years. Recent cyber attacks on power grids, oil facilities, and government databases in both countries show how sophisticated and dangerous this silent war has become. Analysts warn that a successful cyber strike on Israel's defense systems could temporarily blind radar networks, giving Iran the opening it needs for a surprise missile barrage. Likewise, Israeli cyber units could cripple Iranian launch systems or communication lines, delaying any response. It's a deadly game of chess, and every move counts. The United Nations, European Union, and regional powers like Turkey and Qatar are all scrambling to prevent the situation from spiraling into all-out war. But both sides seem unwilling to compromise. Israel insists that Iran must halt all weapons transfers to Hezbollah, and militias something Iran calls non-negotiable. Tehran demands that Israel stop its airstrikes on Syrian territory and end Zionist aggression. So far, no one has blinked. Russian diplomats, who maintain ties with both sides, have quietly warned that even a small miscalculation, one wrong radar reading, one stray missile could ignite a chain reaction that engulfs the entire Middle East. Intelligence leaks suggest that Israel has drawn up multiple strike plans. One involves using F-35 jets to hit Iranian nuclear and missile sites deep inside the country. Another relies on long-range Jericho missiles and drone swarms to overwhelm Iranian defenses. Iran, in turn, has rehearsed massive retaliation drills simulating attacks on Israeli airbases, ports, and even the Dimona nuclear facility. Tehran has vowed that if Israel attacks first, its response will not be limited to defense. That means ballistic missile salvos, drone swarms, and possibly the activation of Hezbollah's full arsenal over 150 rockets. The question haunting everyone now is timing. Both sides are watching, waiting, each hoping the other flinches first. Inside Israel, fear is growing among ordinary citizens. Gas masks are being distributed again. Air raid sirens are being tested daily. The public has been told to keep emergency supplies ready just in case. In Iran, state media is whipping up nationalist fervor. Crowds chant death to Israel as missile parades roll through Tehran, but behind the slogans there's anxiety too. Many Iranians remember the devastating cost of past wars and dread what a new conflict could bring. Despite the tension, there are still voices calling for peace. Former diplomats, activists, and religious leaders on both sides warn that if war erupts, no one will win. The destruction would be catastrophic, not just for Iran and Israel, but for the entire region. This isn't just a Middle East story, it's a global crisis in the making. A direct Israel-Iran war could send oil prices skyrocketing, destabilize markets, and trigger massive refugee flows. China and Russia might side more openly with Iran. The US and NATO would back Israel. And suddenly, the world would find itself dragged into a conflict that could stretch from the Mediterranean to the Persian Gulf. Experts warn that such a confrontation could even spark cyber retaliation across continents, targeting power grids, financial networks, and communication systems worldwide. The stakes couldn't be higher. So who will make the first move? No one knows for sure. But history tells us that wars often begin not with a deliberate decision, but with a mistake. A misread radar signal, a rogue militia attack, a misfired missile, any of these could unleash a storm that neither side truly wants. Right now, the world is holding its breath. The skies over the Middle East are crowded with drones, jets, and satellites. Every radar ping, every coded message could be the spark that turns cold tension into hot war. And when that moment comes, when the first missile launches, it will mark the beginning of a conflict that could reshape the Middle East for generations to come. Until then, both sides continue their deadly dance, preparing, posturing, and praying that their enemies don't strike first. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.